Hey everybody. Sorry that I've been rather quiet lately. I haven't really been vibing with the online sword community in recent months, so I've been taking time for myself and focusing on my archaeology career. But I wanted to uh, talk today about gauntlets. Now, gauntlets and HEMA and hand protection in general has shown extreme and extraordinary improvement over the past decade or so, and prior to that, but in the past decade, more articulate gauntlets while maintaining the protectiveness of many mitten gauntlets have shown up and really set the precedent for the quality of hand protection that is available. These are you probably recognize as the pro gauntlets, or a pro gauntlet, I should say. I only have the one, and it'll probably get put into my stash of relics for HEMA. Because it's just too much to maintain, and I probably won't use it outside potentially a longsword tournament. But I don't do a lot of longsword, so therefore probably not going to use it much. But I'm not focusing on that today. What I want to focus on is mitten gauntlets, specifically gauntlets for people with atypical hand morphology, like I do. Now, I've had a lot of struggle throughout my HEMA career protecting this hand, and it has led to me sacrificing aspects of martial systems for the sake of safety, which is almost always necessary when you're training, but you don't necessarily get the full breadth of that system and therefore lose out on some of the utility. But I'm really getting tired of the compromises that I've put forth on myself, with myself, I should say, to protect my hand. This is a superior fencing mitten gauntlet, and this comes from an era of superior fencing's history where they were really retro engineering hand protection and equipment in general from other manufacturers, and still forming an identity for themselves and making and developing the quality to compete with said other brands. So this gauntlet, while very protective, isn't necessarily the highest quality and definitely not the most dexterous. And the same was true for my other gauntlet. This came with the other one that I have since given away to a friend as an offhand gauntlet for them because they lost their min gauntlet. But it comes with issues. Like I've been saying, it's not very dexterous. I have to fight to open the hand and to close the hand, and therefore it's also quite loose. Like, this is as tight as I've been able to belt it. Like, it won't go any tighter just because there's so much meat around the wrist area to grasp. And my wrist doesn't even quite, I don't know if you can see it, it's still poking out there. My wrist doesn't quite fit into it. I'm kind of in the cuff. The meat of my palm is in the cuff, so it doesn't really fit the dimensions of my hand. Despite me sending the dimensions of my hand there, so that could possibly be a user error on my part. But regardless, it's suboptimal. I've since reached out to a couple of manufacturers, most recently Spar and Glove, and discussed the prospect of having a custom glove made for my little hand. And while they were interested, they eventually said that they were unable to provide what I'm looking for because they don't have the infrastructure to accomplish that. Which, fine, like, that's all right. But but I now am looking for what's next for this project of mine. And this is where you guys come in. I'm gonna list out the requirements that I need to protect my little hand in this sport, and and still be able to use it rather than just have effectively a buckler on my offhand that I can like exert pressure with, but can't grapple or grab anything at all. And then if anybody knows who is able to make that, my current next trajectory I think would be Kveten's Zephatinus gloves, like mitten gauntlet, because evidently they like, that's the whole pitch, is that they custom fit it to your hand specifically. I don't know if they still do that, but at least that's what they marketed it as when it was coming out. But I'm looking for options pretty much. So what I'm looking for is a mitten gauntlet that fits my little hand, that is articulate enough that I can open and close enough to be able to grab at arms, grab at blades, perform grappling actions, grappling exchanges, without compromising protection, and without adding too much weight. So what that and the reason why is that I do not have pectoral muscle, and so my arm cannot carry as much weight as my other arm, even if I developed it to the point where it's as strong as this arm, which I plan to, but I haven't done yet. I'm in the process of getting there. And but because it's light, you have to worry about how protective that's going to be. So it can't compromise protectiveness, it can't compromise weight too much, and it needs to be dexterous enough for me to perform offhand actions. Another thing that I would like to have is a glove on the inside. I know that some models of sparring glove don't have an inner mitten, don't have an inner glove. That's a bit of pet peeve of mine. It works for some people. Cool, more power to you. But it doesn't really work for me. Preferably, I'd have something like, it's kind of hard to see in this light, this textured leather that would help with the grip on my little hand, because I've often been holding an offhand device like a buckler, and I've parried, or I've tried using a knife knife's not really an issue, but tried using smaller swords with my offhand, and when it's parried, or when I perform a parry, it gets knocked out, just because I don't have a very good grip strength. And so optimizing it to maximize the amount of friction, the amount of grippiness that I have on whatever tools in here, or their armor, or their arm, or their weapon, or whatnot, would be great. And so having the grippy interior glove, having a light polymer, preferably maybe leather if it's protective enough, exterior that is just articulate enough to open and close without me fighting it, that fits the hand, and that goes down onto the forearm. Doesn't need to be great, but like having such a massive bell cup, while all right, is not preferable. I'd much rather have something along the lines of this, which is like protects the inner wrist, but also doesn't really have a whole lot of profile change because of the flared bell, without compromising protective qualities. It can go up onto the forearm. I'm also fine with that if it just is a full forearm guard that I just put on for the whole arm. That'd be great. I'm pretty open about that part, but pretty much what it needs to be able to do is it needs to be able to open and close. It needs to have protection on. It needs to be able to protect the very breakable fingers of my little hand, and it needs to have an inner glove so that way I don't get nicked by metal burrs, and I can perform grappling actions. Now, I'm not looking for charity on this. I will be I'm absolutely willing to pay for services, but it's the big issue is finding somebody who is able to, with the skill set, to perform this task, and that's really the baseline. So if please share, please communicate, spread this video, like, comment, whatever, share with friends, share with artisans and craftspeople, particularly anybody who's based in the Pacific Northwest or the West Coast where I'm at. But I could care less where you come from. Like, as long as this happens, I'm happy. But please spread the word. Thank you in advance. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Looking for a gauntlet, and no, and I'm looking for somebody who's able to make it. Take care, all. Thank you much.